Well, I'm not First of all, I apologize for making this as a live video. For whatever reason, having issues uploading to YouTube, so I'm gonna have to just live my videos until I get it figured out. I don't know why it's doing this, but it is. So currently at the hotel right now. Orientation is in the morning. Um, been crunching numbers all day between the few flights that I had to get up here. So for those of y'all that will watch this at some point, uh, yeah, left rail. Nothing negative to say, but I'm in starting job tomorrow at a new company, so I'm going to orientation tomorrow morning. But I just want to make a quick video before I actually lay down and try to go to sleep. Um, Still up in the air about if I'm going to release the company that I'm going to be driving for now. I'm really not sure, honestly. I don't know if I'm going to, if I am or I'm not. Um, but anyways, I'm going to drop this one real quick. So, title of this one is about types of pay, CPM versus percentage pay. Um, it's kind of known that you will make more percentage wise, of course, if you get yourself into a good deal, that is percentage wise. And I've actually crunched some numbers and written something down, taking notes to actually show how you actually will make more. So I'm not going to make this too long. I'm just going to flip the camera around and show you guys the notes that I took. I will explain what each thing is and where I got those numbers from. Basically, I just made the numbers up, but how I came to the conclusions and how I crunched those numbers and came to that specific amount. So, without any further ado, I'm going to go ahead and get to it, and hopefully this will help some people out in the future. So, we're going to start off with CPM. CPM, if you don't know what that means, cent per mile. And I'm going to use the rate that I was at rail before I left, 47 cent per mile. Let's say you get this run right here, you'll get a workflow that says 700 paid miles. You have to drive 50 miles empty to get to your destination and 650 miles loaded. Also, other terms for empty are empty, deadhead miles. You're eating those miles. Anytime you hear a driver say that, basically those are those are miles that the truck really isn't making revenue for the company. That is, the truck's not making revenue for the company, driving those miles on their way to get to another load. So probably, yeah, I think it's a fair guess to say that if you get a load or a workflow or something that shows that you're driving like 300 miles, you know, empty to get to a load, chances are it's either A, to move you to the load that the company's getting is going to move you to a better area for more profitable loads, or it's a very high dollar load that they're willing to uh, get those miles, that's make the truck go through those miles, that's honestly not really bringing any money to the company. So you're going to drive 700 miles total between empty and loaded at your rate of 47 cents per mile. That's $329 that go to the driver. That is it. Now whatever your rate per mile is, or excuse me, your CPM is for whatever company you drive for, that's how you calculate it. Now uh, there's different ways to look at, how the company gets that 700 miles. You can either get paid in hub miles, which are the literal numbers that your truck drives from point A to point B. Um, you can get paid city center to city center, zip code to zip code. Um, Address to address, practical miles, actual miles, also known as the hub miles. There's so many different ways that a company can look at, how they come up to that 700-mile limit. But when all said and done, for this example, we're going to use 700 miles. So 329 to the driver. Now this is how percentage pay usually works out more. Let's say that you're working for a company and they're going to give you a rate of 24% of the line haul, and the company is charging, um, let's say you're picking up I don't know, a load of steel from somewhere. This place, one place bought steel and they need it shipped to their location. And rail is going to charge this company $2.50 per mile to move their freight. So what they're going to do is see 650 miles, multiply that by $2.50 per mile. And as you can see, that company's going to have to pay $1,625 to have that load moved by rail or whatever company. I'm just going to use rail, even though rail is not percentage pay. I'm just going to say they are. You're you're going to they're charging the company $1,625. Now you're at a pay rate of 24% of the line haul, which means that you will actually get $390 from that load. Now, obviously, these numbers are before tax, but option one, CPM at 47 cents per mile, or option two, 24% of the line haul, 390 versus 329. 320, they're obviously making more percentage wise. Now, I want you guys to think about something. Y'all are probably saying, well, what about the other 50 miles? What's going on with that? The company is not going to pay, for most of the time, the company is not going to pay the trucking company to drive those empty miles to pick up the freight. They're just simply going to get paid. They're simply going to pay the company for the miles from their business to the customer. That's why it says 650. But let's say you factor it in this way. You made $390 off of this load. And let's say you divided it by 700 miles. Your actual CPM is 55.71 cent per mile. So even if you factored it in and divided it by 700 miles to find your CPM, your average CPM would be 55.71, which is still significantly higher than 47. Now, here's also another benefit to having a percentage pay base. I'm going to go down to the next scenario. Let's say your rate stays the same at 24%. But let's say, the company that's doing this buying and selling and is going to hire whatever company you drive for, let's say that they get this huge increase in what they're able to um, sell that product for. What's up, Blake? Yeah, Blake could actually talk about this too because he's a percentage driver. Let's say that company that's selling the product, the other one that bought it, and they say, you know what, we're going to sell this for a lot more. I don't know, make up whatever dollar amount you want to make up. You're going to sell it for a lot more money, and the trucking company goes and says, you know what, this is what we're going to do. Instead of charging $2.50 per mile, they're going to start charging that company $4 per mile. So we jump back over here, 650 miles times $4 per mile is $2,600. At a 24% pay rate, that's $624 to the driver. So as you can see, you made that much more money by doing the same amount of work simply because the rate that the company is charging that other company is going up. So yeah, your company is charging them $4 per mile now instead of 250. Your company makes more, you make more. So versus your company would make more if you're a CPM driver, but you'd still only bring home 329 out of that because your pay rate's the same. Now we jump over here to look at your average CPM. You're making $624. The company's making 624 divided by, excuse me, you're making 624 divided by the total distance of that run, 700, 650 loaded, 50 empty. Your CPM would actually be looking at $89.14. So Like I said, this isn't going to be a long video. Just something I'm trying to whip up real quick. I also have another one on how to be a lease op slash owner op properly. I've noticed a lot of people between my father who drives for Landstar and friends of mine who are lease ops and owner ops um, that were with rail. I've noticed what people did that were things that they did that were successful versus things that they did that were really hurting them. And yes, it is more beneficial financially to be a percentage driver. Um, so now, I mean, of course, that's just right there. That's just a very basic way to look at it. But I mean, it just depends because line haul can mean different things depending on where you go. Line haul at ATS versus line haul at builders versus line haul at Landstar or Lodestar or you know any leasing company, any other company. All these places that have that are doing percentage of line haul, you need to make sure you ask them. What is the breakdown of the line haul? When will I actually see? How much it is or what it is, because each place definition is kind of different. But basically, in a nutshell, it's the profit that that company will make off of that load. Um, so yeah, what was I saying? But yeah, the next video, not making this tonight. I'm about to just go to sleep. Probably watch a little bit of TV until the TV starts watching me. It probably shouldn't take too long because I don't know, I'm kind of starting to feel the tiredness to kick in. Um, so yeah, but the next video is really going to be a good one. Um, and I think a lot of this one will really help people who are looking at saying I'm going to be a lease operator versus an owner op, and I think that this will help a lot of people learn how to do it, to take that step and do it carefully and also properly, because the method I'm going to show you, and it's actually facts. Yes, CPM is outstanding per loaded mile on percentage pay. Deadhead does knock it down, but that's why I was showing you. That's why I did say that, Blake. Depends because, but Blake, yeah, Blake would know. He does. Blake definitely, like he says, it would knock it down some. But even if you there it goes. Even if you still go and factor it over and say add in that additional 50 miles instead of 650, add in that additional 50 because you're driving that 50 empty. Um, you're still going to come out to making a little bit more. I heard hotshot drivers make really good money. Um, I was actually just watching something on Trucker Brown's channel just before I started doing mine, and he was on there with a guy that was straight trash talking hotshot drivers, like calling them not real truckers and whatnot. Um, my own 2 cent, I have nothing against hotshot drivers. Um, I'm pretty sure I'm pretty sure Doctor of Red Pills. Oh, good luck. Oh, shoot. Oh, if you're starting on the 20th, that means you're at the hotel right now where I'm at. Because my orientation for my new company is in Gary as well. Well, I mean, if you're going through training in Gary, yeah, that means we're probably if you're going through training in Gary, yeah, we're at the same hotel. Yeah. So yeah, like I was saying, I've heard hot truck drivers do really well, but the guy, like I was saying, on Trucker Brown channel was Appleton. I'm sorry. Um, I'm really sorry. um, well, let me stop. Appleton's good. A lot of good drivers come out of Appleton. Um, I think he was trash talking hot shot drivers. He was like, he can't stand them. He hates them. They think they're real truck drivers. I have no issue with hot shot drivers. Getting your money is getting your money. I don't care what your hustle is, as long as you're doing what you need to do to provide for your family or provide for whomever you feel need to provide for. As long as you're making your money legally and safely, I don't care. Now, with that being said, it does suck sometimes when I'm just rolling into like a truck stop and it's like 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning and I'm ready to go to sleep. And I'll get to a spot and I'll just see like all these hotshot dudes just taking up space. 43, oh, that's good because I started at 33. 43 is good. And I'm assuming you're going to be flatbed. Um, yeah, I'm assuming you're going to be flatbed. So if that is the case, yeah, if that is the case, yeah, you should reefer. Oh, yeah. I'd say I'd say to be realistic, average yourself at about 2,700 miles a week. Some weeks you'll make more, some you'll make less, obviously. That's why I said average. 2,700 times 0.43. That's going to be basically about what you make each week. And then uh, factor in detention because you're going to be going to a lot of grocery warehouses and stuff and sitting and waiting. You will you will get detention time. Always claim detention. Always, 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 always claim your detention. That was one failure that I didn't do when I first started because I was so stuck on, CPM is your bread and butter of how you make your paychecks, which it is. But I didn't really think about the fact that all these times I was sitting here just not claiming detention just because I sat somewhere for 4 or 5 or 6 hours. I just wasn't thinking about it. And hindsight's always 2020. I should have definitely been claiming all that detention. Um, so yeah, not to mention all that will go into your pay plan. So whenever you hit your 6 month point and you make it to the pay scale, it will actually help you start at a higher level. Um, so yeah, claim your detention, especially being refrigerated, because you'll get it. Um, always try to get places early as possible. Even if you can't deliver, if you can get there early, get there like a day or so early, you can claim your layover pay. So yeah, get your CPM, your base, 43 cent per mile, your layover and detention. You'll do you'll do pretty well. Yeah, 43 cent per mile. You should probably see checks that are like in the mid sevens every single week if you're running good. Because that's about what I was seeing when I was vanned, and I was at 40 cent per mile before I swapped to flatbed. So yeah, depending on your fleet manager too. Um, so yeah, but the next one I want to talk, the next video back on topic was how to run your how to run your truck, and essentially, I will get into it way more in depth because I've crunched so many numbers and calculations and went through each set of the calculations multiple times to make sure that I'm giving actual factual information that has no errors in it. So I went through and I know it's no errors. Um, in a nutshell, yeah, Appleton's decent. The thing I don't like about Appleton though is that I've noticed when I had students that came out of Appleton they would when you go about like a rotary or a roundabout or whatever it is you want to call it, I noticed that they would run the trailer over it. And I'm not saying they're just running it over in the middle. They would try to keep the trailer off it as much as possible, but there's still it's like they know that they can run it over. So if the trailer does hit it, no big deal, whether they have the space to allow it to not hit it or if they don't have really that much space, they're letting the trailers run over it. The issue that I have with that is, yes, the middle parts of them are designed for your trailer to actually to be able to ride on it. That's why it's kind of curved the way it is. Actually, not kind of, it is curved. That's why it's curved the way it is. But the problem I have with that is they teach that there, but when you get out into the real world, there are some places where you go around a rotary or a roundabout, whatever it is you want to call it. They're not rounded. There's an actual curb. So if you run your trailer on that at a decent speed, you're going to curb your tire. You're going to blow your tires. And then what's going to be happening is the company's going to tell you, you're going to call the company, hey, I got a flat tire. I got two flat tires on the trailer. Well, what happened? I ran my trailer tires over a rotary or the curb of a roundabout. Okay, well, that's going to come out of your pay plan as a preventable. And I think that kind of puts the company in a hard spot because you have instructors who are teaching you it's fine to do that. All of them are designed that way, but then they're not all designed that way. So it's just like you're telling this driver they're going to get points taken off of their pay plan for something that's preventable, but you're teaching them it's okay to do it. Like that to me doesn't seem really fair to the student. So you either A, don't take it out of their preventables, or B, stop teaching them that it's okay to do that. I've also heard that a lot of the old school instructors are teaching students to, when you're dolling down the legs, the landing gear on a trailer, to dolly them down to like an inch or so off the ground and then pull out from underneath it. And I think that actually not, I think that's a problem because they're operating off of the premise that you have air dumps. Basically, there's a switch in the truck where you can flip it over and take the air out. You take the air out of your airbags on the tractor, and it will lower it back. It will lower it down. So it also helps for when you're going somewhere. Let's say you pick up a trailer with like 45,000 pounds of uh, 45,000 pounds of hopes and dreams that are inside of this trailer, and somebody dropped it too low, you're not cranking that bad boy back up because that's just way too much weight to try to crank. So what you could do is drop the air in your trail or your truck, lower it down to where you're actually able to slide underneath the trailer. And then once you get under it to a certain point, flip the switch back over and it'll start reinflating the airbags and it will actually lift the trailer back up for you to be able to get under it. Um, they're operating off the premise that our trucks are able to do that. None of our, unless you get an old truck, which you most likely won't get an old truck. It's a very slim chance that you'll get an old truck. I'll take that back. It's a very slim chance that you'll get a truck that's so old that it has that option. They're still operating older trucks, but none of their old trucks are old enough to have that air dump valve option. So the problem is, you're going to think that's okay. You pull out from underneath the trailer, but you don't drop the airbags, you're going to drop a loaded trailer or any trailer, you're going to just drop the trailer onto the landing gear. You're going to mess up the gearing. And then one of the days where you're in a rush, you're going to go do a drop and hook. You're going to go pick up a trailer, and when you're dolling up the legs, you're going to realize one of your landing gear legs is coming up and the other one isn't moving. And that comes from people damaging them by dropping them. So no, I don't care what anybody says. Do not leave an inch off the ground. If you have an airbag, if you have a trailer, an air suspension release valve or whatever, by all means leave that inch if you want to, because you can lower the truck and settle the trailer down. That if you want to leave an inch, go ahead. But if you do not have that option in your truck, do not leave an inch off the ground. Dolly the legs all the way down, and it'll hit the ground. They'll roll down very easy. Once they get to the ground and they actually make contact with the ground, at that point keep on dolling. It's going to be hard, but you having the truck there to support it. Keep on dolling the legs until you start hearing the air hissing from the airbags of the truck. You'll hear it leaking. It's like, tss, you'll hear it. There's no way you can miss it. Once you get to that point, then you're good. Go ahead and put the handle back down, secure it. Do the rest of everything you got to do to safely unhook from the trailer, and then pull away from it in first gear, very slow. No, I'm not going to be in Appleton. I'm currently in Gary, Indiana. Um, so yeah. And if I do go to Appleton, it's by chance and it's not with rail. Um, so yeah, if all goes smoothly with orientation for the next 2.5, 3 days, yeah, I won't be driving for rail anymore. Um, so yeah, but basically shorter runs. Um, Before I end this, kind of a preview into the next video. Shorter runs, you will make more money doing runs um, than if you do long runs. The big thing that people do when they're going to be a, a lease op or an owner op, um, they think fail to transition from thinking like a company driver to thinking like a business owner. Once you're a lease op or an owner op, you are no longer a company driver. You are a business owner in a way. You need to think like a business owner, and that's where people fail. People are so stuck on, I gotta drive 3,000 miles a week, I gotta drive 3,200 miles a week, I gotta drive 3,500 miles a week. Instead of thinking about, they're so concerned with their cent per mile, you need to look at what your rate per mile is. That will make you be successful. If you can have a higher rate per mile average, you can make more. But yes, essentially in a nutshell, you take the shorter runs and you'll make more. So yeah, but as always, guys, like, comment, subscribe, and Rail is a great starter company. Rail is a very good starter company. If you come here, you're willing to work hard. Uh, you're willing to do what you're supposed to do. Give it time, you'll start seeing decent paychecks. Nobody comes in making a bunch of money right off the rip. You have to start somewhere, and just come in, work hard, do what you're supposed to do, have a good line of communication with your fleet manager. Don't hit shit, don't have any incidents, get everything where it needs to be on time. And it sounds hard, but it's really not. It's basically just do your job. You come to rail, do your job, and prob- if you stay out, I'd say stay out probably 36 days at a time. Um, yeah, stay out 36 days at a time. That way they're not going to admit it, but if you stay out for 36 days at a time, your fleet manager's going to fucking love you because you're staying out for a long time. You're making a lot of money for the company versus somebody that says I can only go but this far. Yeah, don't be a complainer. God, just go where you're supposed to go. Don't complain about it. Do what you got to do. Don't sit. I don't want to go to New York City. I don't want to do this. I don't want to go to Chicago. I don't want to go where it's too cold. I don't want to go where it's too hot. I don't no. Fucking go where you're supposed to go. Do what you're supposed to do. Don't hit shit. Do your job right. Um, and complain if only if it's a legitimate complaint and not something stupid like you're just being a baby. No, do your job, be a grown up, do as you're told, do what you're supposed to do, figure shit out on your own. Like, don't fucking run the truck out of fuel. Like, let's say you get a load and they're saying your fuel stop is, like, let's say it's 800 miles away and you know you just can't make 800 miles with the amount of fuel you have in your truck. Don't fucking run your truck out and just get stuck on the side of the road somewhere. Don't be that guy. Just have a level of common sense. Um, and certain things you can figure out on your own instead of always having to blow up your fleet manager's phone. But if you're ever not sure about something, call and ask. Um, Also, use the PC to send a lot of messages too. That's sometimes you'll get a faster result by sending messages on the PC, and also it leaves a black and white trail, a paper trail, so to speak. So if your fleet manager says to do something, then you do it, well, there you go. But then also there's a level of common sense. If you know it doesn't sound right or it's not safe, then don't fucking do it. Is training hard? Honestly, it's not. I'd say really the biggest part that gets people is doing the 90. No, driving I don't think it's hard. It's a lot more to be aware of than when driving a car, but it's just not hard. I'd say the biggest piece of advice is watch your trailer. Learn to drive your trailer. That's what gets people. People are so People have an issue just like backing or maneuvering the trailer, and I think of it like this. If you want your trailer to stop in a certain location or move in a certain way, I guess kind of think of it. I When I'm backing or doing something, I kind of think of it in a 3D overall, in an aerial view. That's the way my mind works. I look at it in an aerial view in my mind. Here's where I need to put the trailer, and here's where I'm at now. I need the trailer to be in this position for me to get it into the hole. So if I need the trailer in this position, how do I need to maneuver the truck to put the trailer in that position? And I think once people really start thinking like that, it'll be a lot easier. And that's how I look at it, honestly. Will you be working next? Um, Not sure if I'm going to release that. I know I mentioned that a second ago. Not sure if I'm going to release the name of the company just yet. Yeah, it is a nice pay raise though. I got a 10 cent per month. Yes. No, not I'm not a complaint. I'm not complaining. Or another trucking complaint. No. Oh yes, it is a trucking company. It's still an OTR company, but my pay would be so high that I could actually be able to go home every other weekend if I want to. Um, I am trying to save for a down payment on a house, and I would like to buy a new car. So I'm probably for the next 6 or so months, I'm going to run hard like I have been running. Yes. Oh, yes. That's a very good point. Kenny Guire, I think I'm saying that correctly. That is a very good point. Because I have done van. I still love trucking. I have done van, refrigerated, and flatbed. Um, Backing a spread axle is very different than backing a van or refrigerated trailer. Understand the spread axle, you can't make U-turns. If you have a large enough area to do one, then you can, but you're not making in a loaded flatbed, you're not making a U-turn. If you're trying to back into a spot, home time is the same for across the board. It's a tier system. But basically, if you stay out 36 days at a time, you'll you stay out 36 days at a time, you'll get a week off. I think it's somewhere around almost like for basically every week you're out, it averages out to like every week you're out, you'll get like a day and a half off, something like that. Um, yeah, it's basically it sits around there somewhere. Every week you're out, you get a day and a half off. Um, so yeah, but yeah, if you're doing flatbed, backing a spread axle trailer is very different than backing a refrigerated or a van trailer. You're not cranking U-turns. You're not going to 90 it. You're just not. It's just not going to happen. You can, but you're going to damage the trailer. You're going to start hopping and skipping, and then you could potentially run the risk of making a load come loose if it's not secured properly. Uh, is it good that I'm going to get UCO program? Yeah, it's good. Um, yeah, it's good. You'll definitely enjoy flatbed if you like doing work, or if you don't mind doing work. Um, yeah, your pay will probably be about the same as everybody else's because it takes time for you to learn how to secure a load fast and tarp fast. But once you get that down, yeah, once you get tarping and securing your load down, that's when you're going to start making better money because you're not spending so much time burning your time up securing the load. Have you had close calls? Yeah, I think I thought I talked about it. I've actually had one accident since I've been out here, but I was not at fault. Yeah, I was not at fault. I was found not at fault, and it was unpreventable. It happened in Connecticut. A chick T-boned my truck. Um, yeah, the officer found me not at fault. It was unpreventable. Rail went back and reviewed the camera footage. They're just like, yeah, there's no way you could have prevented that. The chick, I need to stop saying chick 'cause she's like my age. The woman that hit me, she was like, yeah, I was at fault. There's no two ways about it. I just straight hit this guy. I took a guess as when I can come out from this private driveway. I came out. I didn't see him. I ran straight into the side of his truck. Um, yeah, so I mean, that's that's really that. Close call. Now that's a full on accident. Now close calls. Um, I feel like if you're really in tune with what's going on with the road, you can avoid them pretty well. Um, I watch everything. I'm constantly watching my mirrors. People say, you know, you can't really be responsible for what's going on behind you. Um, True, you can't, but it doesn't mean you should not be aware of what is going on behind you. Um, I constantly look, obviously, I'm looking forward. I'm constantly checking my mirrors. I'm constantly looking at what's going on behind me. And I also look at what's going on the other side of the road because it is very possible for somebody to lose control of their vehicle, be it car or truck, and legit go through the center median and come at you head on. Like it's possible. That's literally how a head on collision occurs. Um, so yeah, I'm really in tune with what's going on the road. But close calls, more so than saying close calls, you'll have a nice amount of people just doing stupid shit while driving. So I mean, you will have people who will haul ass to get around you and then get like right in front of you and be like, "Oh, I got to get off at this exit." So instead of just slowing down and getting behind you, they'll come up beside you on the passing side. And the thing is, they'll be behind you too, and it'll be like a quarter mile to the exit. They will be behind you, and you're driving in the slow lane or whatever, and they will come around you, get in the gas, and then cut back in front of you last second, and then slam on the brakes just to get off at just to get off at that exit. And I'm just like, why? Like, why? You've legitimately only changed what 70 feet, 70, 75 feet. You've legitimately, yeah, impatient. You legitimately only changed your distance by 70 feet. Like, come on now. It's just it's people. A lot of people do stuff like that, or the ones that will, be passing you, and then they'll get in front of you with like 40 feet of space, but then they will get in their brakes to slow all the way back down. Yeah, I can't stand that. But yeah, people will go around you, like let the people that are going around you, like our rail trucks are tuned at 65 miles an hour. I can't stand when people are going like 70 miles an hour to get around you, but you know how some people behind them are pushing them down the highway, like, I want you to hurry up and get out of this lane so I can go 85. So they're doing 70 to pass you while you're doing 65. They're cut in front of you with like 40 feet of space, and then they start slowing. They'll let off the gas, or sometimes they'll get in the brake, or they'll slow all the way back down to like the speed that you're doing. And I'm just like, why? Why would you get from behind me to go around me to go faster, just to get in front of me to slow back down to the same speed you were just doing? Why couldn't you just stay behind me in a safer area and just do 65 miles an hour? So you went 65, you're traveling the same speed I was traveling to get in the left-hand lane, to speed up, to get back in front of me, to slow all the way back down. Why? It just doesn't make sense to me when people do that. Um, I don't know. My girlfriend was rode with me this past week, and she was telling me, she's like, they just don't understand. She's like, maybe they just don't understand what it's like to drive a truck. And that sounds good and it makes sense, but I'm just like, she read that excuse for like maybe like one day, and then when she realized the volume of people doing stupid stuff, she started realizing, she was like, okay, it's not a level of they don't understand, because it's impossible to have this many people just don't understand. Like, and the thing is, everybody understands the concept in physics that a larger body in motion is going to just take more to stop. Like, if you see this fat dude running down the street super fucking fast, you're going to naturally know it takes him more time to stop if he's got to come to a stop, versus if you see this skinny stick dude running down the street, going the same speed at him, it's going to take that skinny dude way less time to stop. You understand when you're watching a football game, like watching, something on the, ESPN, and you see this ginormous fucking dude running down the field about to hit somebody else, you can look at that and be like, that dude is about to hit the shit out of that other guy and do some damage. Like, you know all these examples in your everyday life. You don't have to be a professional football player or professional athlete to know that this big dude is going to take a lot more time to stop than this small dude. He's also going to hit with a lot more force. So if you understand that concept in every other arena of your life, don't get on the highway and act like you don't understand that concept, because you've blatantly shown you do get it. It's the same thing. It's just applied with vehicles. I'm a Me in the truck is the giant fat dude. Me going 70 miles an hour in a truck is going to take me a lot longer to slow down and stop than this guy driving this Volkswagen Beetle. So don't cut in front of me with like 35 feet of space and then hit your brakes. Just don't do it. And it shouldn't take you having to do the job of a semi truck driver to understand that concept. That's just common sense. But then again, like like the saying goes, common sense isn't that common. So I don't know. But yeah, I think I'll do the video tomorrow after first day of orientation. I'll do the video tomorrow talking about driving, being a lease op and owner op, and doing how to run your truck properly. So yeah, what was it? Red pills, Mr. Look like what's his name, Mr. Doctor of Red Pills. You're asking a bunch of questions. You have any more questions before I shut this down and go to bed? 'Cause, yeah. Does anybody else have any questions? Mm, Speak now or forever hold your peace. Or type now, I should say. What should you expect in regards to trail training in Grand Prairie, Texas? Not anymore. Rail does not have a Grand Prairie, Texas training facility anymore. The terminal is still there, but you just don't train. All right, Mr. Markel. Well, you have a good night. My first time. What should I expect? Honestly, you're gonna you're probably going to drive the truck and be like, this is not as bad as I thought it was gonna be. I think people in their minds blow it up to be way worse than what it is. I think you're gonna get in it and be like, this is not that bad. You're like, oh, okay, whatever, cool. Um, Honestly, I will say this. Understand that going through the CDL program, you can only learn but so much. It's like a cap to it. You can only learn so much. You'll cap off here. And then once you get with your trainer, you'll go through another learning curve. Keep an open mind and always just be willing to learn. Um, I'd personally say, listen to it. Don't be in a rush. Don't hit shit. Um, Understand that just not everything is always going to go your way. Do not run your clock out and catch a violation. My pro tip is that's the one thing that a lot of people fail at with trip planning. They run their clock out and they're just like, I'm not sure I'm going to park. If you're stopping in the middle of the night, like dead middle of the night, you need to be coming up to your option A of where you want to park with 2 hours left on your drive time. If you're stopping at like 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon when everybody else is really trying to stop for the night too, uh, I'd say find your first be at option A with like an hour and a half left on your clock. Now, if you're driving all night and you're stopping at like 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock in the middle of the day, and you're just taking a 10-hour break dead middle of the day, you can damn near drive your clock out to where you have almost nothing left because everybody's out driving during that time. Now, if it's the weekend, you might want to edit that part a little bit because a lot of people do go home on the weekends or they park for the weekends. If you might get a run that's like 1,000 miles, you get it Friday, and then you deliver it Monday. So you're not really hauling ass to try to get there. It's only 1,000 miles. You can do that in like 2 days. So like shoot a day, almost 2 days, not even 2 full days. If you're keeping that left door shut and you're moving, you can do that in less than 2 days of driving. Um, what was that comment? Hold on a second. The comments disappear. Do they have GPS or maps? We have Copilot. Rail has Copilots in the truck. Um, it's kind of like it's basically a GPS. However, it's way less reliable than a GPS. I'd say this about Copilot. People say Copilot is trash. It is not a trash system. It is very good. I think that the parts that fuck people up with Copilot is either it's the very beginning of the trip or the very end. I say before it's and you're driving down the highway and you're on I-80 having to go like 400 miles, the Copilot is not going to be like, all right, get a where are you ever late? Was I ever late? Oh yeah, I've been late before. For things outside of my control, but If you talk to the company, let them know, they'll reschedule stuff for you. So it's not like you're not talk. If you don't, you need to talk to them and let them know what's going on. Don't just not communicate, and then your appointment is 7 o'clock in the morning, and then you're rolling in that thing like 3 o'clock in the afternoon, but you haven't told anybody anything. You're gonna get in trouble for that. But if you're like, hey, I'm hit traffic. Hey, I blew a tire. Hey, somebody rear-ended me. Hey, this. Hey, that. This is what's going on. Blah blah blah. So yeah, autopilot is co-pilot, not autopilot, co-pilot. Co-pilot is GPS. Just think of a GPS as way less reliable. It's good for like 85% of the trip, where it's like the whole middle portion when you're on interstates and whatnot. It's good for that. But once you start getting to the actual shipper or the actual receiver, you're going to need to look at your ship advisor that comes on the Rail app. Look at Ship Advisor. You're going to want to look at the local directions that's in the workflow, because sometimes a co-pilot might tell you to go down a said street, but if you look at the local directions that's in it, you'll have other drivers and the company that have left comments that say, do not go down street Alpha. Street Alpha is a no truck route. There's a low bridge or blah blah blah, but the co-pilot will tell you to go down that street. So always look at Ship Advisor. Always look at the local directions before you get there. And also another tip, whip out Google Maps so you can look at a get a good feel of what the place looks like from everybody knows the Google Maps is. I don't have to break it down for you. Get a good feel of what it looks like from the aerial view, so you can kind of come up with a game plan of how you're going to get in and how you're going to get out instead of just showing up, especially flatbed. Ooh, last thing you want to do is get somewhere where you can't hit a U-turn and you're on that spread axle and you're just like, ooh, you're sitting there humming Amazing Grace because you just realize you got yourself into a really bad spot. That kind of stuff is avoidable. Also, whip out your map. I don't care what kind of map you use, as long as it's a good trucker atlas map. Um, Whip out the map and verify the route that they give you to make sure it always is truck friendly. What's my favorite thing about trucking? Um, I get to see the country. I enjoy driving. I've always enjoyed driving. Even when even when I was a cop, I put more miles on a patrol car than like most people. Like a lot of people would just go to their calls and they'd patrol and do area checks and they'd stop somewhere for like 2 or 3 hours. Like I was that officer that was filling up my patrol car like 2 or 3 times a night because I was just constantly out driving, and I just love driving. I love driving. I love listening to music, just being in my own world and just seeing stuff, never in the same place. Just I'm doing the same thing, but I'm not doing the same thing every single day, if that makes sense. I love flatbed because it's different. Not 47,000 pounds of lumber rides different than 47,000 pounds of steel versus a 47,000 pound coil. Um, all that stuff rides different. It's a different. It's just it's more challenging. Or you can get a load that's like you can go out to Lodi, California. You're not going to mess up the routes. Like all it is, it's literally the company gives you the routing. Just look in the map. Just whip out your map, and if you're that worried, just whip out your map and trace through the map the entire route that the company wants you to do. If it's far, the whole thing is truck friendly, you're fine. If you ever feel like you do get off routing or you're not sure, find a safe location to pull over and whip out your map and figure it out. Like, don't the thing that gets people is when they realize they're in a bad spot, they keep on going without trying to find an alternate method. No, the second you can safely pull over and stop somewhere, do it and then whip out your map and then look at stuff. Don't be worried about tunnels. Your truck is 13 feet 6 inches high. Remember that. If it's anything less than 13 feet 6 inches, do not go under it. That's it. Nothing to be worried about. Anything less than 13.6, do not go under it. Case in point. And I don't care if you're in a mid-roof truck and if you're in a I don't care if you're in a mid-roof truck and you're empty on your flatbed. If it's like usually typically if it's less than 13.6, that means the route in general is not meant for a truck. So even if you can fit your mid-roof under it because it says 13.5 when you get under the empty flatbed in a mid-roof truck, chances are you're going to run into something else a little bit down the road. It's going to make it even more challenging. Um, I mean, there are times where you can get away with it, but don't. Just don't. Just if it's not 13.6 or higher, don't go under it. Bad weather, ice and snow. You don't need to drive on ice. If you do find yourself in that kind of conditions, slow way down. Just keep your following distance super high and get off the road as soon as possible. Um, if you do hit a patch of black ice, uh, put your clutch in, get off the gas, don't get in the brake. Just keep the truck going straight. Um, Snow, it's just don't drive fast. Yeah, yeah. There's no GPS that it is worth getting. I personally don't run one because I prefer a map. I've never had an issue between a co-pilot and a map and looking at Google Earth. I've never had an issue. But it is worth it. But yeah, driving in snow, it's up to your skill level and what you feel comfortable doing. Just don't drive fast. It's all the same as far as any bad weather condition, whether it's raining hard or snowing hard, raining soft or snowing soft, if the wind is blowing too hard or if it's not blowing too hard, it's all the same. Slow down, keep your following distance big, and don't try to drive outside of your skill level, and don't be in a rush. Just take it safe. And if you just don't feel safe driving, just pull off the road and say, "Hey, look, I don't feel safe in these conditions. I got to stop until the conditions improve." Would I ever go local? Actually, yes. I was actually looking at going local. Um, well, I'll put it this way. I was planning on leaving rail. Now, the main plan was to go local. However, last time I was home, went to go get my hazmat, my doubles and triples, doubles, triples, tanker, and hazmat endorsements, so I could go to a local company. But out in Augusta, they were being retarded. I'd had my son with me, so one place was just like, we can, we'll allow you to take the test before you get your background check, but you can't have your kid with you. Um, I think that's what they said. Yeah. And then the other one that said you have to get your background check done, but we don't have a kid rule. We don't have a rule where, if you can or can't have your kid with you, but the computers are down. So I said, okay, well, I'll just go get my background check done. I went to go get my background check. The office that does it is a TSA office. The office that does it, I guess, is cutbacks. It literally said that they cut all the hours down to like 4 hours a day, like Tuesday and Friday during the week, and that was it. Those are the only times you could get your stuff done. So yeah, finding a s- BOTR for BOTR for a year to 2 years, and then apply to local jobs like Sire, Old Dominion, FedEx, UPS. Don't try to start driving right off the rip going local, because you're not doing yourself any favor. At least do a year minimum on the road. Uh, let's see, some more comments. Trying to get at least 3,000 miles a week. Yeah, I would say that would be a good goal to get. Realistically speaking, you will get 3,000 mile weeks. I'd say realistically speaking, you'll probably get 27, 28, and then you get 30. You'll get like 27, 28, 32, 33, and it kind of alternates between them. Um, but your average will probably sit around 28, 2,900 miles. Uh, Getting additional GPS is worth it, yeah, if you get a good one. Almost with my driver training, what should I expect mileage wise? What are tips on finding a good local paying job? Um, OTR drive man, okay. Wait years, yeah, year to 2 years, and then go local. How long should I do? Yeah, so that's that. But I'm gonna go to bed now. And, y'all can keep on dropping comments. I will get back to them in the comment section in the morning. Um, and yeah, I'll drop this other video tomorrow, and I'll also talk about day one of orientation.